The Art Director's Debrief, the Three Musketeers finale, the trial and tragedy. Hello, and welcome back to the Emotive archive for our final grand analysis of the Three Musketeers. We have journeyed through duels, intrigues, and secret missions. We have deconstructed this classic as a spy thriller. Now we arrive at the grim and inevitable conclusion. The death of Constance Bonacieux has transformed our heroes. The game is over. What remains is a hunt, a trial, and an execution. In this final three-part debrief, we will first anatomize the novel's dark climax from chapters 64 to 68. We will then step back to offer our final, unique thesis on the novel as a whole, a new perspective on its characters and its timeless philosophy. This is the final declassification. The hunt for Milady de Winter is a masterclass in narrative momentum. Our heroes are no longer just soldiers or spies. They have become a posse, a self-appointed tribunal united by a single, cold purpose: justice, or perhaps more accurately, vengeance. The group is a symbolic collection of all those wronged by Milady. We have D'Artagnan, representing the memory of the murdered Constance. We have Lord de Winter, representing his murdered brother and the assassinated Duke of Buckingham. We have Porthos and Aramis, representing the brotherhood of musketeers she tried to poison. And at their head, we have Athos, the Comte de la Fère, the man whose entire life was destroyed by her deception. They are joined by a final, terrifying figure, the man in the red cloak, the executioner of Lille, a man with his own personal reason to seek justice. This is not a state-sanctioned operation. It is a personal crusade, a gathering of ghosts from Milady's past, all converging for a final reckoning. The trial itself, held in an isolated, dark house, is one of the most powerful and morally complex scenes in literature. It is an extra-legal proceeding, a vigilante court. Athos, acting as president, transforms from a melancholic soldier into a cold, implacable judge. The scene is a systematic deconstruction of Milady's entire life of crime. Each man stands and delivers his testimony, presenting the evidence for her countless acts of murder, betrayal, and corruption. She is accused of poisoning a convent, of attempting to murder her own brother-in-law, of being an accomplice in the assassination of the Duke of Buckingham, and finally, of the murder of Constance Bonacieux. The final, damning piece of evidence is presented by Athos himself. He reveals his identity as the Comte de la Fère and tells the story of the fleur-de-lis, the brand of a common criminal hidden on her shoulder. Her beautiful, aristocratic facade is stripped away, revealing the condemned soul beneath. The sentence is death. Milady, for all her cunning, is finally cornered. Her attempts to use her charm, to appeal to her captors, all fail. She is facing men whose lives she has personally and irrevocably destroyed. There is no escape. The execution scene is a moment of pure Gothic horror. She is led to the River Lys at night, the executioner's boat waiting in the mist. Her final moments are not of repentance, but of defiant, furious pride. The execution itself is swift and brutal, a grim and necessary act of justice in a world where the official law, sanctioned by the cardinal's pardon, has failed. The death of Milady is the dark, bloody climax that the entire novel has been building towards. It is a moment of catharsis, but also of profound tragedy. The final chapters serve as an epilogue, a return to the world of political reality. D'Artagnan, now a wanted man, must face the cardinal himself. This confrontation is the final chess match. The cardinal, the master manipulator, believes he has the upper hand. But D'Artagnan presents his own checkmate, the carte blanche, the pardon the cardinal had given Milady, which Athos had taken from her. "The crime is I, for I commanded it," the pardon reads. The cardinal, a pragmatist above all else, recognizes a mind as cunning as his own. He cannot punish D'Artagnan for a crime he himself sanctioned. In a final, brilliant move of political maneuvering, he tears up the arrest warrant and instead offers D'Artagnan a lieutenant's commission in the Musketeers. It is the ultimate victory. D'Artagnan has not only survived, but has achieved his original dream, not through simple service, but through a complex, morally ambiguous, and ultimately successful covert war. The story concludes with the four friends finding their own paths: Porthos to wealth, Aramis to the church, Athos to his quiet retirement, and D'Artagnan to a brilliant career. Their bond of friendship, the one true, untarnished prize won in this great, terrible game. Now, let us step back from the events and look at the entire novel through the unique philosophical lens we proposed at the beginning of this analysis: the grand, tragic duel between the force of becoming, embodied by D'Artagnan, and the force of being, embodied by Athos. The conclusion of the novel is not just a happy ending, it is the final, profound resolution of this philosophical conflict. Throughout the story, D'Artagnan has been the arrow in flight, a creature of pure forward momentum, his identity defined by the man he wishes to become. Athos has been the fallen star, a man of immense gravity, defined entirely by the inescapable tragedy of his past, a past that is personified by Milady de Winter. The central unspoken question has always been, can the relentless, hopeful energy of becoming overcome the tragic, cyclical weight of being? The final chapters provide the answer. The hunt for Milady is the moment these two forces unite for a single purpose. For D'Artagnan, it is the climax of his journey, the final mission that will forge him into the man he was meant to be. For Athos, it is something far more profound. It is not a journey forward, but a journey backward, a final, necessary confrontation with the ghost that has haunted his entire adult life. The trial of Milady is not just a trial of a criminal. It is the trial of Athos's own past. When he stands as her judge, he is finally taking control of the narrative that has controlled him for so long. He is no longer the passive, melancholic victim of her deception. He is the active agent of its final resolution. The execution of Milady is therefore not just an act of vengeance. It is a symbolic act of liberation for Athos. It is the moment he finally breaks the chains of his own tragic being. By destroying the living embodiment of his past, he is finally free to have a future. The death of Milady is the death of the Comte de la Fere's tragedy, allowing the musketeer Athos to finally live. This is why, in the epilogue, he is the first to retire. His war is over. D'Artagnan's is just beginning. The final scene with the cardinal is the ultimate triumph of D'Artagnan's becoming. He enters the room as a wanted man, a boy from Gascony who has defied the most powerful man in France. He leaves it as a lieutenant of the Musketeers. He has fully become the man he set out to be. And what is his first act as a leader? He offers the commission to his friends, to the men of being who guided him. Their refusal and their insistence that he has earned it is the final passing of the torch. The past acknowledges the future. Being gives way to becoming. The fallen stars recognize the brilliance of the new sun. Athos's final advice to D'Artagnan, that one can be a great man, but one must also be a good man, is the final piece of wisdom passed from the world of tragic experience to the world of hopeful potential. The student has become the master, but he has done so by absorbing the wisdom of his mentors. So what is the ultimate legacy of the Three Musketeers? Why does this story, after 2 centuries, still feel so vibrant, so immediate? In this final part of our debrief, we argue that the novel's true genius lies in its profound and timeless understanding of the human condition, an understanding that transcends its swashbuckling setting. At its core, this is a story about friendship. The bond between the 4 men is the novel's unshakable moral center. In a world of political cynicism and personal betrayal, their loyalty to each other is the one true, incorruptible ideal. The motto, all for one and one for all, is not a cliché. It is a radical philosophical statement. It argues that in a corrupt world, the only true nation, the only true king, is the small circle of comrades you are willing to die for. This theme of a brotherhood forged in combat against a corrupt system is a powerful archetype that resonates through all of modern storytelling, from the soldiers in Band of Brothers to the crews in the Fast and Furious films. Dumas created the blueprint for the modern team story. Furthermore, the novel is a brilliant study in the nature of heroism. None of our heroes are perfect saints. They are flawed, complex men. D'Artagnan is impulsive and often arrogant. Athos is a haunted killer. Porthos is a vain braggart who lives off a married woman. Aramis is a duplicitous schemer. And yet, we see them as heroes. Why? Because their heroism is defined not by their purity, but by their unwavering commitment to a shared code of honor and loyalty. Dumas suggests that a hero is not a man without flaws, but a man who, despite his flaws, will stand by his friends against the world. This is a more realistic, more human, and ultimately more inspiring definition of heroism than any fairy tale. Finally, as we have argued throughout this series, the novel is a stunningly modern political thriller. It is a story about the dark arts of espionage, about the shadow wars that shape nations, about the way personal lives are manipulated for political gain. The character of Milady de Winter is a timeless archetype of the femme fatale, a brilliant, dangerous woman operating in a man's world. The figure of Cardinal Richelieu is the ultimate spy master, a man who sees the entire nation as his personal chessboard. The story's exploration of state-sanctioned crime, of a license to kill, of disinformation and psychological warfare feels less like a 19th century romance and more like a 21st century headline. In conclusion, The Three Musketeers endures because it operates on so many levels at once. It is a thrilling adventure, a complex spy novel, a profound story about friendship, and a deep philosophical exploration of the human soul. It is a story that celebrates the fiery energy of youth while also honoring the tragic wisdom of experience. It is a masterpiece that, like its heroes, is far more complex and brilliant than appears on the surface. Thank you for joining me in this final declassification here at the Emotive Archive.